Good morning. That was weak. Now, you just heard a great report here of vision. See, all of you should have a vision for your life. Something more than what you're doing now. Now, I didn't get too many amens on that one. Huh? This is the day the Lord has made. Now, we've got a choice. You know the scripture? This is the day the Lord has made. And then the next two words are, I will. You get a choice. Isn't it wonderful to have a choice? You get to choose. So what was your choice this morning? What was the first thing you thought about this morning when you woke up? See, there's two ways you can go here. You can say, oh, God, another day. Or, oh, God, another day. Huh? Isn't that right? See, we get to choose the kind of day we're going to have. So let's choose to have a good day. He said, I will rejoice. Get happy. Huh? Be joyful. It does you good. Isn't that right? Well, it's a great opportunity to be with you this morning. It's always a pleasure to be at Lion's Heart. I like that name, Lion's Heart. You know, the lion is the king of the jungle. Did you know that? Am I giving you something new here? Huh? No, that's what everybody says, the lion is the king of the jungle. Well, is the lion the biggest thing in the jungle? No, there's elephant and rhinoceros and whatever, you know. Is the lion the fastest thing in the jungle? No, you know, there are other animals that are faster. But the lion thinks he's the king of the jungle. See, what you think is important, even if you're a lion. But it's especially important for us because as a man thinks, so is he. So if your life is not exactly where you want it to be today, it's because of what you were thinking yesterday. Now, it's all right to say amen, yes, Brother Barry, hello, something, right? Huh? It's okay. So see, we have this imagination, you know, and now you ladies know this very well because in the evening, you know, your husband comes home and you're sitting there and you're telling him about your day and all the things that you did, and he's sitting there and he's saying, yes, you know, his eyes are open, might be a smile on his face, but you know, he's not home. He's doing something somewhere else, right? Because we can do that with our imagination. Now, see, you can be sitting here this morning and smile on your face and your eyes open, but be somewhere else. Stay here, okay? Stay here, because I'm believing that I'll say something that will help you. That's why we come together, right, and share the word. Is to see, you should, every time you come to church, you should be expecting. So you know you get what you expect. You should be expecting to receive something that will help you move from where you are to where God wants you to be. Not where you want to be, where God wants you to be. Amen? So this morning, that's what we're going to do. But first, let me give you greetings from Kenneth Copeland Ministries and Brother Copeland and Gloria and Eagle Mountain International Church and Pastor George and Terry. They love you very much. And we appreciate the partnership of this church. See, this church is partners with Kenneth Copeland Ministries. So everything that we do, you know, God's so smart. Do you know that? God's really smart in the way he puts things together because we're partners together. That means that everything we do, you get credit for because we're partners. And everything you do, we get credit for Because we're partners. This vision for the Philippines. Wow, how exciting. I get excited about that because we're partners. So all these people that are going to be trained, the Philippines will be changed, so will China, and everything else in that entire area will be impacted because of what God has placed in the pastor's heart to do and in your heart to be a part of. See, that's why you're giving toward this, is because when you give, you become part of it. Hello? Y'all didn't leave, did you? So I want to talk about this morning being bigger, going further, above and beyond. Huh? It really goes along with what we're talking about here, this opportunity. See, we get opportunities every day. Some you don't want to take. But some you do, depending on what God's leading you to do. First, let me read you something. The next time you feel like God can't use you, just remember this. Noah was a drunk. Abraham was too old. You know, I can relate to that. I'm 75, you know. Well, Brother Copeland's 81. He'll be 82 in December. Has anybody watched him lately? I mean, this is the year of the Holy Ghost and fire, and he's full of it. I mean, he's fired up. Every time you see him, he's fired up. And he's not slowing down. He says he's going to 120. That's job security for me. Right? Because I'm going with him. You know? He says the Lord has told him that he's moving to the next phase of his ministry at 81. He said, thank God he didn't say it was the last phase of my ministry. Well, see, when you're connected with someone, I've been with Brother Copeland for 35 years now. When you're connected with this church, he's going to the next phase. This is part of the next phase of this ministry. And so when I hear Brother Copeland say he's going to the next phase of his ministry, you know what that means to me? I've got to go to the next phase of mine. See, we all have a ministry. You all play a part in this. And so this is an opportunity to grow. Everybody say grow. So Abraham was too old. Sarah was barren. Barren. But she was 90 years old and had a baby. Y'all believe the Bible? That was weak. Huh? Do you believe the Bible? Everything in here was written to help you. And it was written to you. This is your word. Huh? It was written to you. Well, it tells us in there that Sarah was barren. When she was 20, she couldn't have a baby. Now she's 90. And God says, about 9 months, going to come back through here, you're going to have a baby. What was Sarah's response? She laughed. Well, she's looking at her 90-year-old body, and she's looking at Abraham's 100-year-old body. You can understand she's looking at the natural circumstances, right? And she's saying, no way, Jose. You boys haven't been around here in a while. That doesn't go on here anymore. Huh? But the promise, see, what you focus on expands. It gets bigger. You focus on the problem, it'll get bigger. You talk about the problem, it'll get bigger. You rehearse the problem, it'll get bigger. But if you look at the promise and you rehearse the promise and you talk the promise, it will get bigger than the problem. Now, they were traveling around in tents. Now, you know this account, but I just want to go over it briefly with you before I get to my message. Now, I'm just warming up here, okay? Because you need to figure out whether you really want to listen to me or not. You want to stay here or go someplace else. So they're traveling around in tents, right? So they move up to another area after the Lord gave this word. They move up to another area, and Abimelech was the king of this area. And Abimelech's men came to him and said, you know, there's a new family in the kingdom here. And, you know, and kings at that time, they could have any woman they wanted. You know, they just come take the woman. And if they were married, they'd just kill their husband, whatever. Well, these guys come up and they talk to Abimelech and they say, hey, king, we've got a new family in town, and you should see this woman, Sarah. You'll like her. So Abimelech says, go get her. I want to see this woman. Now, Abimelech's not born again, right? He's a heathen king. He's not thinking about her inner beauty. So they go down to get Sarah, and now here's an opportunity for Abraham. And he says, she's my sister. Abraham, God's man of faith and power. So they take Sarah. Now, I have a question for you here. How many 90-year-old women do you know that a king would want for his harem? Did you ever think about that? Sometimes, you know, we just read the word and we just go through there and we don't think about the context in which this is written. And these were real people, just like you and I. Well, what's happened to Sarah? She's changed. She started focusing on that baby. I want that baby. I want the promise. I want that baby. She started talking about, and she started talking to her body. Because you remember the response of the angels when she laughed? Now, she laughed inside. She didn't laugh out loud because she's standing at the tent door listening to this conversation, right? So God knows what you're thinking. That should clean up your thought life right there. But she laughed inside. And the response of the Lord was, is anything too hard for the Lord? They were totally shocked that anybody would think there's anything too hard for the Lord. Well, that's the way we should be. Whenever God asks us to do something, and if you think He's asked you to do something and you can do it, it's not God. It's like God asking the pastor and this church to buy this property in the Philippines. Well, you can't do that except for God. Huh? Is anything too hard for the Lord? $400,000 or whatever it happens to be? Are you kidding me? For our God, who owns all the cattle on 1,000 years, I mean, He created this place and then gave it to us. We own it. And He created that property for this purpose. So Sarah changed her thinking. She no longer saw herself as old, 90 years old, barren. She started thinking of herself as a mother. She saw herself holding that baby. And in about 9 months, she had a baby. Is anything too hard for the Lord? See, we've got to get over this. We've got to get over this thinking, this small mentality that we have. We've got to go bigger. We serve a big God. Now, that was a good place to say amen. Huh? I serve a big God. What about you? I'll get you there. I'll keep working on you. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Leah was ugly. Joseph was abused. Moses had a stuttering problem. Gideon was afraid. Samson had long hair and was a womanizer. Rahab was a prostitute and proud of it. And yet she was in the lineage of Jesus. Jeremiah and Timothy were too young. David had an affair and was a murderer. Elijah was suicidal. Isaiah preached naked. You haven't done that lately, have you, Pastor? Jonah ran from God. Naomi was a widow. Job went bankrupt. John the Baptist ate bugs. Peter denied Christ 3 times. The disciples fell asleep while praying. Martha worried about everything. The Samaritan woman was divorced more than once. Zacchaeus was too small. Paul was too religious. Timothy had an ulcer. And Lazarus was dead. Now, why did I go through this list of all of these people? And these are all prominent people in God's Word. They all made mistakes, and yet they came back. I find that very encouraging. So it doesn't matter where you are or where you've been. It only matters where you're going. Because we can do great things for God. We just have to get a vision. And then not doubt God's ability in you. God has to have people to work through. Did you know that? Satan or God, both have to have people to work through to operate on this earth. So the question is, how big can you think? How big can you ask? Well, that's not big enough. God's able to do exceedingly abundantly above anything you can ask or think. Ephesians 3:20. That was referred to a few minutes ago. So whatever you're thinking, whatever you're asking, it's not big enough. Got to go beyond it. Because God's already out there. He's already ahead of you. Whatever God asks you to do, God precedes, God prepares, and God provides. God can provide a coin from a fish's mouth. You do believe the God. We agreed. You believe the word, right? Provide a coin from a fish's mouth, feed a multitude with a little boy's lunch, cause the sun to stand still, make an axe head float on water, turn water into wine, send fire from heaven, walk on water, take Daniel through the lion's den. Therefore, he can do exceedingly beyond whatever you can ask or think. He did all those things. It's recorded here in the Bible, which you believe. So expect your Father to surprise you. Huh? You like surprises? Good surprises, right? We don't like bad surprises. Good surprises. Checks in the mail. Huh? Promotions. Inheritances. But you've got to be expecting it. Expect the good things to happen. That's what hope is. Hope is the fervent expectation of something good that is going to happen. And that's what faith brings you. It brings you hope. And faith comes by the Word, hearing the Word. He can walk through fiery furnaces. He can take the poison out of snake bites. He can move mountains, pluck up trees by their roots, raise the dead, cleanse the leper, open the eyes of the blind, heal all manner of sickness, raise the dead, and the greatest of all, make a sinner a child of God. Is anything too hard for the Lord? There's nothing too hard for God. He said that you can ask Him anything and He will do it for you. Huh? Anything. Now, what does that leave out? Nothing. Anything. He's told you that you can accomplish anything you can imagine. Remember I was talking to you about your imagination? What do you imagine you can do? What can you imagine that you can accomplish for God? Because whatever you can imagine, you can accomplish. That's why your thoughts are important. Do you know you have about 70,000 thoughts every day? That's a lot of thinking. The question is, what are they about? See, here's a little voice up here. You have one, whether you admit it or not. And you're talking with this voice all the time. You know, you can't find your keys. And this little voice up here is, you dummy, you do this all the time. Huh? Now, I'm not the only one like this. I know you do too. You have these thoughts, right? Well, see, the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one that you have with yourself. Because you believe what you tell yourself. We're creatures of habit. Our brain is very efficient. So when you do something on a repetitive basis, you do it several times, your brain goes into effect, it comes into play, and it forms a habit. So you don't even think about it anymore. You go out and get in your car. Do you think about getting your key out, putting it in, turning it, starting the car? You just do it. Same way with driving. I mean, obviously, if you've driven very much, you know there's some people out there that are not thinking. Right? But we do things by habit. But some of the habits that we have, we need to change. The Holy Spirit's been given to you. He's come to dwell in you, to guide you, teach you, and show you the things that you need to know. He's speaking to you all the time. The question is, are you listening? And then the next question is, are you obedient? You may get up in the morning, go out there and start your car, start to work, and typically you drive the same way to work every day. But maybe today he's saying, don't go that way. Go a different way. See, we have to learn to be obedient to the promptings of the Holy Spirit because He knows what's out there. You don't. He knows the beginning and the end. You just know where you are now. Amen? So we have to be led. So how big can you ask or think? Well, that's not big enough. I want to challenge you. Think bigger. Go where you've never been before. Huh? The way you get there is to change your thinking. All right, it's another question for you. Who are you now, and how do you know? And how can you prove it? See, I'm Barry Tubbs. I was born in Arkansas. I think I told you that last time, right? Mark Tree, Arkansas. That's the usual response I get when I say Mark Tree, Arkansas. No one's ever heard of Mark Tree, Arkansas. And that's a good thing. There's nothing there. I got delivered. Like the man said, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got there as soon as I could. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. I was named by my parents, and I have legal documents to prove it. It gives me all the rights and privileges that come with it. Not because of what I did, because of something someone else did, and I inherited it. But it's up to me how many of those benefits I claim and I use. See, I'm also a child of God. I'm born of the Spirit, and I have the legal documents to prove it. It gives me all the rights and privileges that come with it, not because of what I did, but because of something someone else did, and I inherited it. But it's up to me how many of these promises and how far I go. It's totally up to me. See, God's not in control of your life. You are in control of your life. He didn't tell you what to eat for breakfast this morning, did he? Or maybe he did. Then the next question is, did you do it? So, let's turn to Luke 5, and we're going to talk about I got 4 words for you. 4 words. Can you handle that? I got 1 amen. 4 words. Go deeper. Believe bigger. Did you get that? Say it. Oh, boy. Now, if you were really excited about something, is that the way you would respond? Go deeper, believe bigger. Huh? Hey, you ever heard of Publishers Clearinghouse? You ever seen those things on TV where, you know, the guy comes up to the door and he knocks on the door, and they got these people out in the yard that got this huge $1 million check out there, right? And he knocks on the door, and typically it's the lady that comes to the door, and he says, "Hello, I'm from Publishers Clearinghouse, and you've just won $1 million." And she says, "Oh, no. You must be looking for the neighbor. I never win anything." Huh? Is that how she responded? No, she jumped and she shouted and she screamed, she hollered, "We can pay off the house, we can buy a new car, we can give a big check to the church." Huh? She got excited. Why? Does she have any money yet? Not 1 dime. All she has is a promise. How many of you know Publishers Clearinghouse could go belly up tomorrow? Huh? Right? Why wouldn't we get excited about the promises that we've been given, just as excited before we ever see the money, before we ever feel healed, before we ever see the manifestation of it, because we've been given a promise by a God that cannot lie and cannot fail. Now, what are we going to do? Go deeper, believe bigger. You should get excited about that because you have an opportunity here to go beyond where you are. Are you absolutely, totally satisfied with your life as it is? Well, there you are. You have the opportunity to change. Ooh, change. You remember those habits? See, when you drive a different way to work, it's going to be uncomfortable because it's not a way you're accustomed to. That's what happens. We get out of our comfort zone. God wants you out of your comfort zone. He wants you in the adventure zone. Huh? And when you go deeper and think bigger, you're going to get out of your comfort zone because you're going to move into the God zone. You're going to be out there where you have to believe God. Well, that's faith. And that's what pleases Him, that you would have enough trust and enough confidence in Him to step out and believe that He'll be there to meet you. See, the level of your faith is directly proportional to the level of your excitement. The only problem we have in the church is that we have too many unbelieving believers. If the church, people that say they're believers, really believed God's word, they would be excited. They would be excited about Malachi 3:10. Hello? The pastor didn't pay me to say this, but I'm just telling you, if we really believe God's word, why in the world would you not do what God asks you to do when He tells you what He will do? If you really believe what He will do, you're going to tithe. You're going to go beyond tithing. You're going to tithe and then give. Why? Because God tells you in His word, He said, just go ahead, test me, try me out, see if I won't pour out a blessing on you greater than you can contain. Huh? I'll open up the windows of heaven and pour it out on you. And that's not all. He gives you a bonus. I'll rebuke the devourer for your sake. Amen. If we really believe that, gee whiz, there wouldn't be any need in the church because people would be tithing. Not because God needs your money. He wants to bless you. But He has to have a connection to be able to do it. I'm going to keep working on you until you get excited. See, that's what we've got to do. We've got to go deeper in God's word and believe bigger than where we are now. This property in the Philippines, that's a piece of cake for it. Look at how many people are here. For this group of people, nothing. It's a piece of cake, $400,000. Gee, what a bargain. To change the Philippines? To change China? Huh? And all the other areas out there? Are you kidding me? What a bargain. You like a bargain? Huh? Everybody likes a bargain. Before the foundation of this world, God knew this was going to happen. Now, just think about that. Man, I don't know how God does this, but that's not my issue. All I've got to know is what God is telling me to do. That's all you have to do, is what God is telling you to do. Because if you do your part, you'll be blessed. And others will be blessed. See, God's intensely interested in people. That's why you do what you do. That's why this church does what it does. That's why the Philippines is important. To bless people, to change people's lives so that they would come to know Jesus as their Lord, and beyond that, to know the truths in the Bible that I'm sharing with you this morning. This is the truth, because that's what sets people free. Go deeper and believe bigger. Forget about the world system of doing things. Thank you for that overwhelming response. We have a better system. I was just going through it with you. Better system. Because we're part of the kingdom of God. We're in this world, but we're not of it. We're operating under a different system. This is not the time to wonder if God's word will work for you. I promise you, money back guarantee. It will. How many testimonies have you ever heard about God's healing power? I mean, a person stands up here and tells you that God has healed their body because of his word, because of his promise. People stand up here and give you just the testimony that was given earlier by the pastor. And you came here and 4 people owned a home. But because of the word, because of the teaching, because of the change in thinking, that I really can own a home. See, you start seeing yourself in that home. Now, you ladies are better at this than us guys are. Huh? But you look at these pictures, and you start redecorating the whole deal, and moving things here. It would look better if it were this color, and that kind of stuff. Well, what are you doing? You're painting a mental picture of something that you desire. And when you see yourself in it, it will manifest. That's going deeper and thinking bigger. Luke 5. Now, this is an account of, we think about Jesus and his ministry, and again, we read the word and we think about it in context of the way that where we live and how we see things conducted. And Jesus is teaching, and we think, well, people they're all sitting out there and they're all nice and quiet and listening to his every word. It wasn't that way at all. Are you kidding me? It was chaotic. This man was healing people. People's needs, their lives were being changed. Lepers were being cleansed. Well, when you start doing stuff like that, people are going to try to get to you. And that's the way it was with him. They were pressing in. They were trying to get, just trying to touch the man because they had needs in their lives. And they've got all the kids there, and then you got the Sadducees and the Pharisees and all the rest of the C's that are all out there, and they're heckling and doing all this stuff. It was chaotic. And so he's trying to teach. He's by the seashore, and they're pressing against him. And so Peter has just gotten in from fishing all night, hasn't caught a thing. Zero. Zilch. So he's over there cleaning his nets. Jesus sees the boat, and he says, Peter, let me use your boat so I can get out in the water a little ways. Hopefully the people wouldn't wade out in the water after him, so that I can teach the people. Peter's in the boat because somebody's got to hold the boat still while he's there. He doesn't want it to float away, right? Hello, you with me? Okay, just want to be sure. And so Jesus teaches, and he says, it came to pass that as the people pressed upon him to hear the word of God, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret and saw 2 ships standing by the lake. But the fishermen were gone out of them and were washing their nets. He entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down, and he taught the people out of the ship. Now, when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a draught." Now, this is the same issue that we have when Jesus tells us to do something. Because Simon is thinking, okay, I've been fishing all night, just got in, I'm really tired. It's okay, you used my boat, that's a good deal, okay, fine, you're through preaching now, but go back out in the daytime? See, everything that Jesus was asking Simon to do was not the way it was done. And Simon's thinking, look, these are real people just like you and me, right? And Simon's thinking, Jesus, you're the preacher, I'm the fisherman. This is not the way it's done. Huh? You don't fish during the daytime. You don't go out into the deep. This is not the way it's done. Launch out into the deep and let down your nets, notice, plural, for a catch. Simon said, "Master, we've been working all night. You understand? We're tired. And we've not caught anything." But he must have listened to the message. He must have listened to the message, because his next statement is, "Nevertheless, at thy word." He had enough faith to do something. "Nevertheless, at thy word, I'll let down the" what? Huh? Net. What did Jesus say do? See, God fills what he finds. We're talking about capacity. Go deeper, believe bigger is about capacity. What is your capacity? Peter's capacity was net, not nets. He heard the message, but his capacity wasn't at the nets level. It was at the net level. Sometimes we just want to be accommodating and try to get by with whatever we can get by with and still kind of do what God's asked us to do. Well, there's a price to pay for that. God knows what he wants done, how he wants it done, and he has a reason for doing it that way. So don't get a better idea. You ever been around people that always had a better idea? You ask them to do something, and they go off and do what they think should be done instead of what you asked them to do? That was a good place to say amen, ladies. My wife asks me to do things all the time, and I go do it the way I think that it should be done. But it's not the way she wants it done. So I get to do it again. So we have to get our mindset into the mindset of the Lord if we want our situation to change. Launch out of the deep, let down your nets for a catch. Jesus was telling Peter two things that went against everything he had learned in his life and experienced as a fisherman. To an ordinary fisherman, following Jesus' instructions would be considered ridiculous and definitely bad for business. But God's message for you today is just as fresh and vibrant as it was then, when Jesus uttered those words to Peter as they stood on the shores of Galilee. God's word does not change. It will produce today just like it produced then. It's alive and vibrant as it comes out of your mouth. See, faith is really easy to understand. How many are born again here? Know Jesus as your Lord? How many? How'd you get born again? Believe in your heart, confess with your mouth. That's faith. You know, I don't think most people don't see Jesus. They don't see God. But they know they have a need. And they are presented the opportunity to get born again. So they believe in their heart and confess with their mouth that Jesus is their Savior. That's the same way you get everything else. Every promise in God's Word operates the same way. You believe in your heart and confess with your mouth. That's why confession is important, because you need to hear you saying what God's promise is. You need to hear you saying it. It's not like me saying it. I'm standing up here, I'm talking to you, you're listening to me, but it's not the same. What I'm trying to do is encourage you to do something. See, Peter explained what was reasonable by the world's standards. Now, this is an issue that I've had for many years, because I have a degree in biology and a minor in psychology, educated beyond my intelligence. But when I went to school, when I went to college, I heard nothing about faith. Nothing. It was all X plus Y equals Z. It was all science. And I'm still involved in science. I like science. But you know what? The further science goes, the more it proves God's Word. God's smart. He's really smart. So what's reasonable? What's logical? We've got to get beyond the reasonable and the logical, because that's where faith is. It's not reasonable. It's not logical. This is not reasonable or logical. You know, going to the Philippines. Why go to the Philippines? You know, we're right here. Not reasonable, not logical, but it's God. And God's not reasonable or logical. He has a plan. We got to find out what that plan is and get involved in it, because that's where the blessing is. Anybody want to be blessed? That's a little better response. He's really saying, here's what Peter was saying, Lord, do you understand how fishing works? See, he had not taken Jesus at his word. Had he not done that, he would have missed out on the blessing of a lifetime. How many times have you tried to tell the Lord, well, Lord, you just don't understand. I can't afford to give what you're telling me to give. You were given an opportunity this morning. Now, I didn't know this was all going to take place, but it fits right in with what I'm talking about. You were given an opportunity this morning to increase your income. See, God is your source. not your employer, not the government. Boy, my word, if you're depending on that. No, God is your source. Wow, this is an opportunity to get involved with what God is doing in the Philippines and see people blessed and increase your income. Just like the pastor said, you can't outgive God. We're going to see that here in just a moment. Peter let Jesus use his boat. Huh? Then Jesus turns right around and says, get your nets and let's go out and do some fishing. Because that's what Peter did. That's what was going to produce income for Peter. But we can't think. That's what I'm saying here is we got to believe bigger. Beyond what you see in your checkbook. You got to see in your checkbook what you want in your checkbook. Huh? Don't be moved with what you see with these physical eyes. You got to see it on the inside. You'll never see it on the outside until you see it on the inside. But we're programmed. We're programmed to think the world system. Everything you come in contact with, you're continually pushed in that direction. Oh, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You got to stay. See, we're driven to conformity within the world system. Don't conform. What does Romans 12:2 tell us? Be transformed by the washing of the water of the Word. That's what we're looking to be, is transformed. Let's move from faith to faith and glory to glory. Anybody want to do that? Then you got to change. You got to go deeper. You got to believe bigger. But Peter, he said, nevertheless, at thy word. Nevertheless, at thy word. In other words, Peter said, Lord, if I go by my experience, this isn't going to work. But because I have faith in you, I'm going to do what you said. Well, he did part of what he said. So we need to ask ourselves, are we making excuses that are costing us big blessings? Verse 7 or 6. Nevertheless, I will let down the net. Now, what did Jesus say? Nets. Remember, God fills what he finds, depending on your capacity. You got teaspoon capacity, he'll fill it. You got teacup capacity, he'll fill that. You got bucket capacity, he'll fill that. You got wheelbarrow capacity, he'll fill that. You got dump truck capacity, he'll fill that. God fills what he finds. The good news is you can increase your capacity. And when they had done this, when they launched out into the deep, they let down the net. What happened? This is when Peter realized that he was the fisherman, but Jesus created the fish. Huh? You know, animals just do whatever God tells them to do. When they had done this, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. Well, Brother Barry, don't you think God, he knows what's enough? Why is he breaking the net? Look, God fills what he finds. That's your problem. The problem with Peter is he didn't bring enough nets. Just think of what would have happened if he'd have done what God asked him to do. All the nets would have been filled. But instead we have one net, and it's being filled to the point to where it's about to break. And then Peter says, hey boys, come on, help me out here, help me out here. And they came out there, and they filled up all the boats to the point where they're about to sink. See, we serve a too much God. Well, see, if you really believed that, you'd get excited. I'm going to have to start all over. Huh? We serve a too much God. Yeah, well, listen, just think about it. Psalms 23, verse 5, I think it is. He says, I'm going to fill your cup just to the top, because we don't want to get into excess. We don't want to waste anything here. I'm going to fill it just to the brim. You'll be blessed with one cup full. No, he says, I'm going to fill that cup until it runs over. All over the table, off the table, down on the floor, out the door, down the street, so everybody gets blessed. Your cup runneth over. That sounds like excess to me. That sounds like a too much God to me. Huh? What about Luke 6:33? He said, if you give, I'll give you back exactly what you gave. No? No, he says, if you give, men will give back to you. Pressed down. Have you ever tried, the garbage can is full, right? So what do? You press more in so you can get more in there, right? That's what God's talking about. And press it down so we can get some more in there. And he just keeps putting it in there until it's pressed down, shaken together. But that's still not enough, because we serve a too much God. It starts running over. Huh? You say, well, it just doesn't take that much for me, I can get by. Well, okay, fine. Get by on whatever you want to get by on, but believe for the excess so you can buy this property in the Philippines. Huh? Listen, here's where we need to be. Here's where we should be. I'm talking about going deeper and believing bigger. Here's where we should be. Every one of you sitting out here today, when they say, okay, we want to go buy this property in the Philippines, it's going to be $400,000 or whatever the price turns out to be, and you should be sitting there thinking, okay, God, you want me to pay all of it or just part of it? What do you want me to do? That's where you should be. Because we serve a too much God. He wants to bless us. That's what happened to Peter right here. And they beckoned to their partners which were in the other ship that they should come and help them. And they came, filled both the ships so that they began to sink. God fills what he finds. You throw out one net, he'll fill it up. Bring on some ships, he'll fill it up. Remember the lady, the woman with the cruse of oil? And the prophet said, now, I want you to go out and borrow all the containers you can find. Well, she went out and borrowed some containers. And what happened? It poured and it poured and it poured and it poured until there was no more containers, and it stopped. What would have happened if she'd have borrowed a few more containers? What about the boy with the loaves and fishes? Huh? Multiplied, right? Jesus blessed it, then gave it to the disciples. They distributed it amongst the people. Well, everybody had just enough, right? No. Everybody was filled. Everybody was laying down on the grass ready to take a nap because they had had so much to eat. But God didn't stop there. This little boy wound up with 12 basketfuls left over. That sounds like a too much God to me. More than enough. Now, you can, there's different realms that you can operate in, you know. Just enough. You know, that's where most people are. Just getting from Friday to Friday, paycheck to paycheck. Regrettably, that's where most of our society is. Did you know in this world, listen, we are so blessed to live in this nation. Huh? I should have got a better response than that. If you've traveled internationally, you know this nation is blessed, and we are blessed to be here. I travel all over the world. Let me tell you, there's no other nation that is blessed like this one. No, we got our problems, I understand that, but we're still far ahead of anybody else. 70% of this world that we live in exists on less than $10 a day. $10 a day. Are we blessed? Yes, we are so blessed. Well, we're blessed to be a blessing. And they came, filled both the ships, so that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he was overwhelmed. He was overwhelmed with Jesus' generosity. That's where we're headed. If you want to go deeper and believe bigger, you will be overwhelmed with God's generosity. He will bless you so much you cannot contain it for a reason. You'll be at the grocery store, and some person will be up there trying to count the pennies, trying to get the grocery bill paid, and God will say, just go take care of it. Huh? My wife does that all the time. She is a giver. Oh, my word. I came home one day, and the sofas were gone. I said, what happened? You know, there's this big vacant space in the living room, right? And they were nice sofas, too. I mean, leather, all this, you know. And I'm saying, so I know they weren't repossessed because they were paid for, right? She said, well, somebody needed them. I gave them away. Well, glory to God, you know. There's more where they came from. See, this shortage business, you know, we're being told, you know, there's a shortage of this and a shortage of that and a shortage. There's no shortage. There's plenty of everything. God in his wisdom would not have created this earth and all that's on it and have, 7 billion or so people on it now, if it were going to run out of resources. You remember it wasn't too long ago, we were being told that in this country, you know, no more oil, all gone. It's gone. Coal, oil, you know, not sustainable, you know, it's not replaceable, all used up. Don't believe everything that you hear. Today, we are exporting more gas than we're importing. And the state of Texas is producing more oil today than they ever have. God has a way through technology. See, we know more today than we did back then. And there's this shale deposits. I know I'm getting into some areas you probably are not familiar with. But the bottom line is, don't believe people when they, if anybody tells you anything that is different than God's word, don't believe it. That's the opportunity we have. You're going to believe something. Even an atheist believes something. Do you think God's sitting in heaven wringing his hands over your financial situation? That was a question. The way this works is I ask the questions and you give the answer. No. He created a plan for our financial future, and it's been there all the time. These promises, how long have they been there? All these years, always been there. It's up to you to make them active in your life. He's waiting for us to go deeper in our faith and believe bigger so he can prove his word. Prove it. Peter did know how to fish, but Jesus created the fish. And as Peter's faith had grown, he said, "Nevertheless, at your word, I'll let down the net." Except he changed it. God wants to bless you above and beyond what you could ask or think. If you believe that, you'll start asking and thinking bigger. So we can do big things for God, like change nations. Change nations. That's awesome. What a vision. That's a vision you can get connected with. That's a vision that'll challenge you. Huh? But God said, just go ahead. Test me. Go ahead. Prove me. That's what the pastor's doing. He's stepping out there. He doesn't have the money. Didn't have the money when he started here. But look at this place. It's beautiful. I think you've redecorated since the last time I was here. I mean, do you know how good it is to have nice, soft chairs? Huh? If you haven't been to some place where they've got folding chairs and you had to sit in the, you know, Brother Copeland, some places we have meetings, and these venues we go into, they provide the chairs, right? And they're either plastic or they're something like that. You know how long he preaches? Long time. Sitting in that plastic chair. Huh? But no, you've got nice, soft chairs, beautiful carpet, all well decorated. Well, how do you think it happened? The same way that place in the Philippines is going to happen. By faith. Huh? By faith, and God moving upon people who will be obedient to do what he asked them to, who wants to get involved in it. That's the way it'll happen. Money is not the issue. It's not the issue. This world is full of money. Full of it. All we need to do is transfer it. The wealth of the wicked has been laid up for me. I'm the righteous. Are you? Then it's there for you too. God's calling you to go deeper in his word, go deeper in your faith, go where you've never been before. He wants you out of your comfort zone, no longer content to just get by, paycheck to paycheck. That's just getting by. That's not where we want to be. And the next level is just enough. You got just enough to pay your bills, take care of your family. Well, that's not where you want to be. You want to be to more than enough. More than enough. More than your needs met. Why? So you can help other people meet their needs. So you can give. He wants you moving into surplus and significance for the kingdom. Say, I'm significant. Now say it like you mean it. All right. I'm significant. I am significant. Now, isn't that better? See, there's something about saying something with feeling, with emotion, that connects up here. Now, this is scientifically proven. If you had a traumatic experience in your life, that experience is stronger in your memory banks than other things that were not connected to an emotional event. So when we talk about what God's blessing is, when we talk about God's promises, when we talk about being significant for God, we got to put some feeling into it. Huh? When we rehearse and recount and confess God's promises in our life, we got to say it like we mean it. You got to say it like that woman who has just been told she's been given $1 million. Huh? I mean, dancing around your house is okay. When we obey Jesus and move out into the deeper waters of faith, we'll receive the catch of a lifetime. And it just keeps getting bigger. See, there's no end to this. I mean, pastor, he's got a nice church here, congregation to speak to. He could be content just to stay here. Well, God, done what you asked me to do. Came here, started the church, built it, growing it. People are being blessed. People are being taught. They're moving, being blessed. See, when God asks you to do something and you do it, and of course you couldn't do it on your own, you needed God to get it done. But when you accomplish the task, He'll be back. And He'll ask you to do something a little bit bigger next time. And then you'll do that. And then He'll come back and say, a little bit bigger. We go every year. We go to Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. There's a man there named Bishop David Oyedepo. And he has a church that will seat 50,000. That's big. 50,000. On Sunday, he has 5 services with overflow. Now, we go there because it challenges Brother Copeland's faith. He goes there every year to see what this man has done. He has a Christian university. He has over 8,000 students in it, an accredited university. He has a property outside of Lagos where his church and the university, and he has housing for all of the students, all of the professors. It's all on the property, about 2,000 acres out there. He just celebrated 37 years in ministry. 37 years. To start from being a street preacher to having a 50,000-seat church, and he's about to build one that will seat 100,000. He thinks he can go to maybe 3 services on Sunday if he does that. All done with Nigerian money and all done cash. Paid for. Doesn't owe anything on any of it. But he's changing the nation because people are coming in there and they're hearing the word of faith. They're hearing what God's promises are. They're hearing that they can be significant for God, that they don't have to continue to live and subsist on less than $2 a day, that they can move beyond that. It doesn't matter about the circumstance. It doesn't matter about the government. It doesn't matter about what opportunities they may have or not have. It's all about what happens inside. Every time we go over there, Brother Copeland gets pumped up, and look out. Because when he gets back home, he's going to be talking to the staff. Well, we're not doing enough. That's how we got on Dish TV. We came back from over there. He said, well, we're not doing enough. Let's go on Dish. That was not on anybody's list of things to do. That's about $4 million a month that we didn't have. See, it doesn't matter where you are. The numbers change, that's all. But it's the same faith. It's the same belief. It's the same adventure zone. That's why it's exciting working for Brother Copeland. You never know what you're going to do next. Huh? That's why I have not missed a meeting in 35 years. You know, people think we have these big meetings and, you know, all the staff comes in and the executive team, and Brother Copeland comes in and he says, look, here's a 2-year plan and a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. None of that happens. You hear it the same time I do. Because when he steps on the platform and says, we're going to go to the islands of the world. Okay, you know how many islands there are in the world? What direction do you go, you know? But then I talk to him later, and I get some more definition. We just got back from Guadalcanal. Have you ever heard of Guadalcanal? It was a major battle in World War II. It's in the South Pacific. We just did the South Pacific Victory Campaign on Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands. We had over 10,000 people in their Saturday night service. Over 2,000 people born again. See, you were all part of that because you're partners with us. You didn't know you went to Guadalcanal, did you? Huh? But you did. But how did we get there? If God came to Brother Copeland and said, I want you to go to Guadalcanal, he could say, I really don't have time for that right now. Well, the ministry's really, you know, struggling right now. We really don't have the money to do that. I mean, he could say all those things, but he would miss a big blessing. And he's at a point, he doesn't think about what it costs. That's God's problem. If he calls you to do it, he'll provide. Say, God will provide. God will provide. Now say it like you mean it. God will provide. I'm making some progress here. Y'all are getting better. God's calling you to go deeper in his word. Go deeper in your faith. Go where you've never been before. Give your fears, doubts, and worry to the Lord. Peter learned this valuable lesson because in 1 Peter 5:7 he writes, give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. So let down your nets. Now don't make the same mistake Peter did. You let down your nets, not just your net. Let me tell you a little sports analogy. Football. You've heard of football? Bear Bryant was the coach at Alabama for many years. Great football coach. And Alabama and Auburn was a big rivalry. So they were having this football game. 2 minutes left in the game. And Alabama was ahead by 3 points. And so Coach Bryant calls his quarterback over and he says, now look, son, I just want you to run out the clock. We're 3 points ahead. Don't do anything spectacular. Just run out the clock and we win. Yeah, coach, I got it. But you know, by the time he got back out to the huddle, the bright lights, the roar of the crowd, He calls the huddle and he says, now, guys, you know that they're expecting us just to run out the clock. So let's surprise them. I've got a pass play that I know will work. And so we'll win by 7 points instead of 3. So he called a pass play. The cornerback on the Auburn team was the fastest man on the field. He read the play. Quarterback throws the ball. The cornerback intercepts. He's coming down the sideline. The quarterback's standing there. His life is flashing before his eyes. What have I done? He turns around and runs down this guy and tackles him on the 5-yard line. After the game, the Auburn coach comes over, and he's talking to Coach Bear Bryant, and he said, Coach, no way this could happen. My man was the fastest man on the field. Your man is not that fast. Coach Bryant said, well, what you don't understand is this. Your man was running for a touchdown. My man was running for his life. Well, that's what we're doing. We're running for lives. Other people's lives. To see other people's lives changed. So when God asks you to do something, do it exactly the way He asks you to do it. For the maximum blessing. Huh? Now here's something else. You know, when Jesus told Peter to launch out into the deep and let down his nets for a catch, He didn't do it for him. Peter had to do it. He's talking to you about doing something, but He's not going to do it for you. You have to do it. Corresponding actions connected with your faith will produce for you. God's calling you to believe bigger for greater success than you've ever imagined possible. Going beyond your imagination. Peter was leaning on his worldly experience as a fisherman, but Jesus was directing him to follow His word. Guaranteed success. This is your day. Say, this is my day. To go deeper and believe bigger. This is my day. To go deeper and believe bigger. This is my day. To go deeper and believe bigger. This is my day. I can make the decision based on God's word. Go deeper, believe bigger. This is your day. To go deeper and believe bigger. No matter what happens around us, we have the blessing of God on us and in us. God's ability to prosper and increase your life is unhindered by the world's circumstances. Don't believe what they're saying. Don't believe what they're trying to persuade you to believe. It's not true. God's word is true. And He says you're prosperous. He says give and it'll be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Huh? He says He'll open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing upon you greater than you can contain. Huh? He says, I wish above all things, that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. See, He touches all 3 parts of your being, spirit, soul, and body. He covers it all. And He says He wants above all things. That's what I want for you. Just remember, Noah was riding high and dry even though the world went into liquidation. Abraham ended up with blessings and riches in a land that he walked on by faith. He didn't have a clue where he was going. And look, Abraham was a rich man. Huh? He was 75 years old. God comes along and says, okay, pack up, Abraham. Now, he's a moon worshiper. Did you know that? He lived in Ur of the Chaldees. You know where that is? It's just on the other side of Mark Tree, Arkansas. Huh? A moon worshiper. Why would God find a moon worshiper to go to enter into covenant with? Because, just like all these other people that I outlined to you in the beginning, God looks on the heart. He doesn't look on the outer man. He's looking at your heart. And he saw in Abraham a man that he could trust, a man of integrity, and a man that will raise up his family and his children in the way they should go. There's a man I can work with. He told him, okay, Abraham, pack up your things. We're going on a trip. Abraham said, well, where are we going? We always have that question, you know. And God said, I'll get back to you on that. He packed up, headed out, living in tents. I don't know if you've ever lived in a tent before or not, but I spent the night in a tent. Not for me. But he had the promise that God had given him that he would be the father of many nations. Father of many nations. His name was Abram at that time. God changed his name to Abraham, which means father of many nations. So that every time he heard his name, every time he said his name, it would bring to his remembrance father of many nations, the promise, father of many nations, father of many nations. Abraham was fully persuaded that God would do what he said he would do. That's the way we must become, fully persuaded that God will do whatever he tells us he will do. The way you become fully persuaded is through repetition. That's the way you retrain and reform your thoughts and your thought patterns is through repetition. Just like your habits that you have now, that's the way they were formed, through repetition. That's why confession is so important. Isaac sowed in the time of famine, became very rich when everyone around him experienced lack. Now, this makes no sense. There's a famine in the land, and what little Isaac had, you would think the reasonable thing to do would be to save it so that he could survive, right? Right? God doesn't ask you to do the reasonable thing. He asked you to go deeper and believe bigger. And Isaac responded by sowing what he had. And he reaped 100-fold return. That's awesome. That's something to get excited about. Because if he did it for Isaac, he'll do it for you. Because God's no respecter of persons. If you just do what he asks you to do, he's going to do what he says he will do. Jacob was prospered by God when his father-in-law tried to cheat him many times. Ever been cheated by somebody? Hello? Huh? That's people. We deal with people. All of them are not totally transformed yet, right? They do things that they shouldn't do at times. But that's not going to stop you. You cannot be stopped. You cannot be stopped. The only person that can stop you is you. If we don't quit, we don't lose. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, but God put him in charge of all the food supplies in Egypt and make him second only to Pharaoh. God will see that you get promoted. You operate in His Word and believe His promises, you'll get promoted. You know how difficult it is in today's world to find somebody that'll just show up on time? Huh? You do what you're supposed to do. Believe for favor. God says we have favor with man and Him. You find favor, you'll get promoted. Moses was a shepherd when God called him to bring Israel out of slavery and literally take the wealth of Egypt. You know, they didn't leave empty-handed when they left Egypt. They had all kinds of gold and jewels and everything else that the Egyptian people gave to them on their way out. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. God will get it into your hands. So no matter how things look, you serve a God who has the power and the wisdom to bring you into prosperity, victory, abundance, blessing, and peace. Believe God. Go deeper, believe bigger. Stand with me. I have a word of prayer with you.